everyone. Welcome to our webinar on the Visiting Scholars Program. So my name is Joke Bradt. I lead the Music for Pain Research Network. And maybe we'll just give like 1 or 2 minutes for people to come in. I just see that some people are joining, some more people. Okay, if you're just joining us, we're just going to wait a minute, see if anybody else will be joining us. All right, we'll get started. So again, my name is Joke Bradt and I lead the Music for Pain Research Network. And today I'm happy to share with you the details of our Visiting Scholars Program and hopefully receive many applications from all of you. So I do want to, before we get into the program itself, want to acknowledge that this network is being co-led by a fantastic group of people, Dr. Mark Jensen from the University of Washington, Drs. Robert Sartori and Mathieu Roy from McGill University, Dr. Patrick Finan from UVA, Sherry Robb from Indiana University, and Dr. Julian Dyer from University of California, Irvine. And so we just started our third year of this Music for Pain Research Network. And the aims of this network, as some of you may know already, are to enhance mechanistic understanding of music interventions for pain management. So we know that music can help reduce pain, but we don't know very well yet how that works. And so the purpose of this network and the two other research networks that are funded by NIH is to enhance this mechanistic understanding. So to do so, the NIH asked us to assist with building a network of multidisciplinary researchers to begin to tackle these questions, to develop a taxonomy of terms and definitions related to music-based interventions so that we all speak the same language when we bring people together from diverse fields. Of course, to identify research priorities related to mechanistic research. And so we actually just completed, together with the other two networks, a scoping review of all the mechanistic research to date on music for pain management. And then through that scoping review, we also identified quite a few methodological challenges and barriers. And so we will be putting out some publications with the results of that scoping review, as well as some of the challenges and barriers and recommendations that we have to enhance the quality of research in this area. And our network will also be looking at identifying treatment response variables and predictive biomarkers. But we're here today because an important goal of our network is to the goal of the Visiting Scholars Program is to support brief residential training experiences related to mechanistic research on music for pain. And we will offer you $5,000 to reimburse you for travel and accommodation related expenses. And an important expectation is that the training will lead to some kind of scholarly output. So it could be that you want to learn a new skill or gain additional expertise in a particular area so that you can put forth a strong grant application. Or maybe you are planning to publish on something, but you really feel you need some more expertise in a particular area. So there needs to be some measurable output from this training program. So some examples could be that you want to acquire specific neuroimaging skills, or maybe particular analysis method for particular neuroimaging acquisition technique. So maybe you have a lot of experience with fMRI, but only little experience with EEG, yet you think you want to do, maybe propose a project using EEG. Other examples could be gaining more skills in certain psychophysiological measures, or maybe you want to learn more about epigenetic modifications in response to music, or examine molecular or other biochemical signals relevant to advancing mechanistic understanding of music for pain. Certainly secondary data analysis techniques or development of neurobiological models could be great examples as well. Innovative methods of music intervention delivery, design of rigorous mechanistic studies, or particular statistical analysis approaches. And I want to emphasize that these are only examples. So you may be thinking of something completely different, as long as it's related to advancing mechanistic understanding of music for pain, or your skills in a particular area, so that you can put forth a strong grant application related to mechanistic understanding, or contribute something to the literature. So the eligibility criteria are that you need to be a member of our network, and if you're not, then you can just scan this QR code and join us by just completing a simple form. There's no cost related to it, so this is totally free. You need to be a faculty member, a researcher, a postdoc, or a PhD student at a U.S. academic institution, or a clinician or a researcher at a U.S. clinical site. And you need to be a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. And I want to emphasize, this is not what we particularly stipulate as a network, but this is an NIH requirement. And since this network is funded by NIH, we have to abide by that. So I know that's disappointing news for some international people, of course. In terms of the training host, so you are responsible for identifying somebody, a researcher who you would want to do this experience with. That person needs to be a faculty member or a researcher at a U.S. academic institution or a U.S. Hospital. They need to have expertise, of course, related to your training goals, and that needs to be evident in their funded research and publications. They are not required to be a member of our network, and like I said, you are responsible for finding the training host. However, I hope that you know, and if not, again, go to our website. We have on our website a collaborator database. We are now over 360 members big, and not everybody wants to be listed in our database, but I would say the majority of people are listed in our database with their specific expertise. So let's say you want to gain expertise in a brain imaging acquisition technique, you can actually filter for certain keywords and maybe find some people who are also interested in this area of research and who would be happy to host you. And if you really can't find a training host, of course, you can also reach out to us and we can see if we have some suggestions, so feel free to do that as well. The length of the training cannot exceed 3 weeks, and it needs to be completed by August 15, 2026. That's because of our fiscal year for this particular network project. And some of you may have seen our Visiting Scholars program announced last year. I want to emphasize that last year's announcement and call for application looked very different. At that time, we looked at a long-term residential training program. So this is different. This is really short-term, where you go somewhere for a week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks to really learn a very particular set of skills. So for the application, you are asked to upload or send in a cover page with the names and affiliations for yourself, of course, and the training host, the amount requested, and the exact dates of the training period. And then the proposal itself is very simple, maximum 1 page where you describe briefly your current area of expertise, your career goals related to music for pain management research, training required to achieve those goals, and then your rationale for selecting the training host, as well as the training activities that you're hoping to pursue. And then also make sure to include your anticipated outputs of the training. And it's fine to just have one output. I put plural here because that's permissible, but one is fine. Do make sure that your anticipated outputs, again, I keep emphasizing this, but it has to be related to enhancing mechanistic understanding of music for pain. Then you are also asked to include a letter of support from your training host. And all these details, by the way, are on our website. So just so you know, that letter of support should include a description of your training host expertise, description of their research lab, and hopefully a URL also to their research lab. And they also need to include a statement that they are committed to providing this training to you. NIH bio sketches for you and the training host, so please make sure not to forget to do this for the training host as well. And then for the budget, it's quite simple. Travel to and from the training site. We don't allow first class airplanes, so just economy, please. Accommodations, you also get a per diem. Please know that research supplies or related expenses are not permitted. And so besides the budget numbers, please include a brief budget justification as well. And then important to realize is that the reimbursement or the payment is a reimbursement process, meaning we're not giving you $5,000 upfront. Actually, once you have completed the training, at that point, you will submit the expense receipts to us. So if you get selected, it will be absolutely crucial that you save all your receipts, you submit that to us, and then we can reimburse you for the expense. Okay, so that's important. Again, expenses have to be incurred before August 15th. Anything incurred after that, we will not be able to reimburse. And of course, these details would be outlined in the awards letter if you are selected as a trainee. And then the review of applications, the things that we will be looking for is, of course, the relevance of your research interest and career goals related to mechanistic understanding of music for pain. Please know that you do not need to have any past research in this area. It's just sufficient that you say, I really would like to pivot some of my research into this area. This is an area of great interest for me, and this is are some of the skills that I want to be able to obtain. So we'll be looking for the alignment of the actual training activities with your stated career goals, and then also alignment of the training host expertise, again, with the stated training objectives. And then the importance of the training output as you have described it in your application. The final decision will be made by our core team, our network team, but it is in consultation with NIH staff. And that's true for all of the things we do, like the pilot funding we offer as well. It's not a sole decision by the network. It's a decision by the network as well as NCCIH staff. And then finally, you'll be asked to submit a progress report, just really briefly a summary of your training activities and the progress status on the planned training output that you had noted in your application. And then we understand, of course, let's say you're working on a publication that you wouldn't have that maybe submitted or even accepted within 90 days. So then 12 months later, we would follow up with you to get a final progress status of those particular products, of those outputs. If you have questions about training ideas, you're not quite sure what you're thinking would be eligible for the program, please feel free to email us at our musicforpain@drexel.edu email address, and we'll be happy to take a look and let you know whether that fits within the boundaries of this training program. And of course, I want to acknowledge our wonderful funders. So this research network is funded by NCCIH as well as the Office of the Director of the NIH. And so I'm going to stop sharing now. And normally I would say, put your questions in the Q&A, and that's why we organize it as a webinar. But since we're with a small group of people, I think it's totally fine to unmute yourself and ask the question. That is, Fatima, if we have it set it up as such. There we go. All right. So yeah, go ahead and ask your questions if you have any. And if you prefer to put them in the Q&A, of course, feel free to put them in the Q&A as well.
Hi, I have a question.
Yep.
So the host must be within the United States. Can it be in
Yes.
Canada?
That's a good question because we have, of course, 2 Canadian researchers in our network. Can I get back to you on that, Tingo? It's a little tricky now because uh, as you know, our government is shut down, so there's no way for me to check in with the program officer. But let me check with some of my fellow co-investigators. I personally don't think there would be an issue with that, especially when it's Canada. I don't think NIH wants to be paying for you to do far exotic international travels for this particular training program. But Fatima, could you please note this question and who asked the question, Ting Ting, so
Uh,
that we can provide you with an answer? Is that okay?
yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have another question. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
So I am I just want to know what is the context of the pain. Is it also related to psychological pain, like sadness, emotional?
No, I mean, of course, you can certainly, if that's what your mechanism is that you want to look at, that's fine. But the outcome is we're talking about acute pain, chronic pain, neuropathic pain, nociceptive pain, but not emotional pain. Although, of course, acknowledging that a lot of certainly chronic pain comes with a lot of emotional pain as well, or might be accompanied or often goes hand in hand with things such as depression or past trauma.
Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And while people think about the questions, I also want to I didn't emphasize that we have the budget to support 6 of you. So please, if you think you would like to take advantage of this, please submit because that's a good number, and it will be 6 a year. And even if we would get 8 stellar applications, and then, at that moment we look at our budget and maybe we'll fund 8 this year and then 4 next year. Once the money is gone, it's gone. But we have quite some flexibility. So if you even know other people who would be interested in this, please let them know about this because we would love to be able to spend all this money. And so we would love to able to support you in whatever skill or expertise that you want to gain. Any other questions? Don't be shy. Or maybe you want to give an example of what you're thinking about to get feedback. It's totally fine if all 4 of you submit for the exact same reason or the exact same skill you want to obtain. It's not a competition really against each other. No, nobody? Go ahead, Ting Ting.
Um, I'm just wondering if you know any host that use FNIR brain imaging to
Yeah.
study about pain because in my lab we're using FNIR and I just wish to develop more skill in the data analyzing process using this this method.
Yeah. And if, so it's a beautiful example because if you want to obtain a particular neuroimaging or uh, any psychophysiological measurement technique, please know that gaining the skill and the technique with a host, that host does not need to be per se doing that work with people with pain or in the context of pain. If you say, here is a really good FNIR researcher, I want to go study because I want to be able to use FNIR in my work, I want to understand the limitations of FNIR, or I want to, in my lab, they're using FNIR, but they're using FNIR solely in stationary positions, and I would love to use FNIR in research that uses active music making. So I want to learn more how to deal with the movement artifacts in the FNIR analysis, for example. Then you could go say, okay, I want to go study with this person who uses FNIR with walking, and maybe that person has never done anything with pain. That is totally fine. So as long as you clearly say what skill it is that you want to learn, why you want to learn it, and why that person. But in your case, if the lab that you're in already has a lot of FNIR experience, and you're more concerned about being able to use FNIR in specific pain research, maybe because I don't know, let's say, I'm just putting this out there. Let's say you're hoping to maybe look at the reward circuitry. And let's say you don't know all that much about FNIR, and you say, well, we use it in my lab, but we only use it for prefrontal cortex measurement, and I actually have no idea if it can be used for reward circuitry, if it can be used to assess motor function, and so and you probably know the answer to that, so it's probably not the best example. But you may say, I know somebody, or I'm looking for somebody who uses FNIR with pain because I want to know kind of what the limits are, what the pros and cons are of using FNIR in mechanistic research for pain and music, for example. So I can, Fatima, if you can write down that question as well, please. Um, I can I can potentially give you one or two names. We actually have quite some FNIR expertise at Drexel University, and there used to be a researcher there who did some research related to pain and FNIR because I actually was almost going to do a project with him. But he might be retired by now. But I think there's some people in the Music for Pain core investigative team who might be able to tell you who would be a good person for this. So we have it written down and we'll get back to you with some potential information.
That's very helpful. Thank you. Clarifies a
And
lot. Thank you.
and can you say, so you have currently, you're in a lab that uses FNIR, but what is the particular expertise or additional experience that you would like to get?
So right now I'm doing a more research area into music cognition and how piano playing affects the brain oxygenation status.
Yeah.
And I will really, really want to dive into how, music can alleviate pain, especially maybe I'm just thinking about it, maybe towards performer injuries,
Okay. Okay.
how to alleviate that. Um, yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Great. Excellent question. Other questions or ideas that you have? No? Last chance? All right. So I hope this was useful for you. I know it's not a lot of extra information beyond what we posted, so this was really an opportunity for you to also come with any specific questions you may have. If you think of other questions after this webinar, or again, if you want to check in with me about your particular ideas, please feel free to do so. We would be happy. I would be happy to have a conversation or email communication with you about what it is that you're hoping to submit. And if you don't have any questions, then we hope to see something from you real soon. All right. I wish you a wonderful afternoon, and please spread the word. And thank you for joining us today.